of like what, FS has been doing in trying to get DNO, but we're finding a way to do DNO with permanent magnets and increase their mass along a certain axes just simply through field interactions.
So, disc and magnet, rotating discs and magnets are the key, and
they're just one way, right? They're the simple way. They're not the best way, but they're the simple way.
That's a major part of it, and it sounds a lot to do with T. Townsend Brown's work, as well as the drawings by, oh my goodness, he just passed away recently, and he was your guy. You knew him quite well. Mark Candlish, was that?
Yeah, McCandlish and I had many communications, but
good old Mark.
Unfortunately,
McCandlish.
He got a little too close. He was, I guess I'll say this because we are on Rumble. He was outed shortly after admitting that he had a team of 2 different engineers and an advisor that they were building a physical scale model of the ARV. And they had figured out the major operating pieces in the very technical side. And after, I'm tripping over my own words here, trying not to say the wrong thing because I don't need that heat coming down on me. But let's just say that they had made some serious progress, and it was very likely they were going to succeed. So that scale model.
I never heard that before. I know people know him. Interesting.
And I'll mention this, which is totally unrelated to that, which is we were having a conversation on Discord with our primary focus group, probably the smartest bunch of individuals that I've ever met. And I have several focus groups that I'm part of. This particular one, myself and another individual helped put together, and it's not the one you guys know about. I'm not going to mention where or who it is. But we broke through the whole where the mechanism of action for superconductivity at room temperature can happen. And we found out that there is a quantum superposition that you get a field interaction between 2 electrons with different directions and opposite spins with those 2 directions. And it allows them to pair up, even though they're not technically doing the same thing that a Cooper pair does. They do quantum entangle in the near field. And when they reach the far field, they're still entangled. So all of the losses that would normally cause the dipole moment of the electrons flowing through the conductor to experience what we call resistance were negated because they were not allowed to fluctuate and move around past their attraction to the valence shells. So they couldn't jump anymore because they were tied to another conductor or another electron in a different conductor or a series same conductor at an orthogonal angle. And so the superposition wasn't broken, and it allows superconductivity in most materials at room temperatures. Copper was what we were looking at, and we were also looking at carbon, but we found the mechanism of action for just about anything we can pump down current through. And we think we understand now enough to start build devices and test to find whether or not we're totally nuts or whether or not we've solved this.
Is beyond a huge revolutionary breakthrough right there, and that's what real science is all about. And next step, being able to test it. That's awesome, my man.
Yeah, and we could be totally wrong too. And I just want to throw that out there. We may not have solved this at all, but as far as everybody looking at this right now with our small focus group and with what we put out there in public, of all the things that I've ever said out there that were wild ideas, this one is one of the only ones that I've received not a single point of objection after people have looked at what I'm proposing here. And it's about the geometry. It's about the natural electron flow, the spin orientation and spin synchronization in phase and 180 degrees shifted in terms of the spin orientation that we get this quantum superposition and an interaction where they phase lock to each other and they act like basically the same coupled particle in different positions, but in the same frame of reference with each other. So if it's right, then we've solved it.
Solve quantum locking and superconductivity at room temperature.
If it's right, only if it's right. We'll find out soon enough.
I suspect it is. And right as we're about to end this stream, before we do, I just want to mention prayers are with Dutchsinse. He made a post saying that they made an attack someone came after his life apparently, or something like that, and that he was he also published 2 weeks ago that he was starting to receive active threats again, and he hadn't done a daily stream or his weekly forecasting in 2 weeks time. And then yesterday he posted that he was ending his YouTube channel and not Dutchsinse his YouTube, right, hasn't had it down forever, and that he's not doing it anymore, and that they are literally trying to kill him apparently, and prayers are with him, and that that validates real science when they try to silence discoverers that can revolutionize our understanding of science and our realm and advancement.
Let's hope and pray he's okay, man. This is a scary field, and that's just it.
Yeah, it's a careful and delicate tightrope walk to not step on the toes of those who have a vested interest in maintaining the status quo.
Well, once again, if Eric Hecker's telling the truth about the earthquake machines, I mean, that's probably where this is all coming from. It's Raytheon, scares the shit out of me. That's all I have to say about
Same
that.
here. I had
scary.
no problem backing Hector in terms of the technical claims and analysis, but when we calculated out the total energy that would have been required, it was quite substantial.
Operate above the law, right?
Right. So that whole stream, like Eric and I got into the technical details quite deeply, and I did a bunch of calculations live and pulled up a bunch of images too, so that everybody could see the DOMs and everything else. Right. Well,
do you believe in Jeremiah? Do you believe Eric?
Well, I did interview him, and he sort of interviewed me at the same time. So
where's the interview at that I can watch it?
If I was a Mythbusters guy, I would tell you that it's plausible. I would tell you that it's not proven, but that it's plausible.
Right, exactly. I feel the exact same. It's plausible, and I personally believe him. We've yet to find any holes in his stories, and we keep finding more and more supporting evidence. And one of the biggest supporting evidences being Dutchsinse, and why we have to get them together for a second interview. And that might be why they're going after Dutch, because for those that don't know the amount of crazy weapon stuff that Dutch has actually documented because for his earthquake forecasting, he has to constantly
he's like spot on, right?
Monitor. Yeah, he monitors like all the solar activity, the satellite energy imaging, and all of that. So he catches all of these anomalies, and that's where he has gotten himself into trouble and with the government. And
he got himself into trouble when he linked the anomalies with a coordinated and intelligently controlled system operated by the military-industrial complex. So when he stepped on the toes of something that's going on, that's
bringing him and Eric Hector together. So maybe it's my fault. And prayers are with.
In terms of Eric, in his defense, the one thing I will say is he admitted openly on both our broadcast, on Jeremy's broadcast, and on multiple others that he's been on, that he's not saying this is what they did and that they actually caused the destruction in New Zealand, but he's saying that he wants people to seriously consider that possibility and look at the evidence.
And more supporting evidence to that actually is the Nepal quake and the CERN accelerator and a solar flare that happened, and that they turned and tested powered CERN on to its maximum using the CERN flare or the solar flare one time, or when they first powered it up using the solar flare, testing it was when the Nepal earthquake happened, and Nepal is the exact antipode on a spherical Earth from the particle accelerators. So there's also that.
Yeah, and Mr. Hecker did openly admit publicly, with no qualms about it, that he said he's not qualified to make these assessments, and he hopes that other people who are going to look into this with a serious note and consider it. So he wasn't trying to proselytize these concepts or sell them to anybody, it seems.
Yeah, he said it seemed more like an accident, and that he suspects the main purpose of that oh god, what was it called? So I've said it 5 times in the show already. The device in Antarctica. the machine, the neutrino detector, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, the question is, can the DOMs
he suspects it is the off-world communication device technology relay machine for an intergalactic space quantum technology communication network, if there is one, and that to tie this all up together, that he believes is what Gary McKinnon discovered and found the evidence of, and that is on Wednesday with Jeremy Reese, alien scientist.
You may want to post a link to that interview that him and I did on Rumble, so that if people are interested and they want to see all the technical details that we went through.
Well, so just look up Dutchsinse Eric Hecker interview on my Rumble or my YouTube, and that is the one. Sadly, Dutch wasn't able to make it, and he hasn't really been able to make anything public since then, and has had death threats and now apparently threats on his life since that. So whatever it is, something he's shown is extremely dangerous to them, and prayers are with him, his family. Fuck off, government, stop trying to kill people. Fuck off, dark government, stop trying to kill people. We need humanity to be free. Fuck you. Yeah. And I'm going to end it on that.
Okay.
I can't say that my views conform with the broadcast.
Crazy
today.
mother. Yeah.
It's just burning.